guys, David here from Hockeyfeber. It's time for a new episode. It's finally Friday, so let's kick this off. Today's episode will be about a state in the United States, and it's very strong connected with ice hockey, not only in the United States but also in the whole wide world. And that is in many ways. And the specific team I want to do a episode about today is the Minnesota Whitecaps. And then of course it's the state of its name is Minnesota. And as I said, many that are interested in ice hockey are well aware of the long and rich history of ice hockey that the state have. So let's kick this off with the newest episode on Hockeyfeber, also called Hockeyfeber, and this time with the team Minnesota Whitecaps. Hope you enjoy it. Let's do this. So, okay guys, let's kick this off. Today's state is located in the part of United States that is in the northern parts, and the largest city in Minnesota is Minneapolis, but the capital city of the state is St. Paul. The state are called the land of the 10,000 lakes because of the large number of lakes. But the fact is that the state of Minnesota have actually a larger number of lakes than 10,000. It's even closer to 20,000 lakes actually. Minnesota, along with the neighboring states of North Dakota and South Dakota and Wisconsin, is forming a region called the Upper Midwest and are part of the Midwest. The first European known for sure to be in this area of the state of Minnesota were the French. And in the 1890, the first permanent settlements were built in Minnesota after the Civil War between 1861 to 1865, and a large wave of immigration began from Europe, mainly from Germany, Sweden and Norway. For many, including me, interested in ice hockey, perhaps Minnesota are strongly connected with the color green because of two teams. And the first team is the Minnesota Stars that were active in the NHL between 1966 up to 1993. The Minnesota North Stars were a professional ice hockey team in the National Ice Hockey League for 26 seasons from the 1967 up to 1993. The North Stars played in their home games in the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, and the team's colors for the most of the history were yellow, green, and gold and white. After the season 92-93, the franchise moved to Dallas, known as the Dallas Stars. Minnesota North Stars have following retired numbers. Number 8, Bill Goldsworthy, that were a right wing, and number 19, Bill Masterthorne, that played as a center. But another very famous player that many knows of were Mike Modano, that were the first overall draft ever in the Minnesota North Stars history. And in 1988, in the NHL draft, he was the first overall draft for the Minnesota North Stars. And his first season, 89-90, he scored his first ever NHL goal against Glenn Haley of the New York Islanders, and Mike Modano had a really good first rookie season. And the season 93-94, when the franchise moved to Dallas, Mike continued playing his career after that season for the Dallas Stars. And he himself, even though he didn't play in the Dallas Stars until he was retired, is really strongly connected with the Dallas Stars. Another team connected strongly with green from Minnesota is the well-known ice hockey NHL team Minnesota Wild, that are still today a club existing and playing in the NHL as we speak now. The Minnesota Wild were founded in June 25th in 1997, but didn't start playing until the season 2001. In the season 2002-2003, they made their first Stanley Cup playoff appearance, making a surprising run in the Western Conference Finals. Despite never having won the Stanley Cup, Minnesota Wild have a team that during its years as a club has raised many talented ice hockey players and is making an impression in the ice hockey both in USA but also around the world. Here is 3 profiles and players of the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild's first pick in the NHL Draft 2000 were Marian Gaborik, the 3rd overall player in total in the first round of the draft. Another profile that have really made his name for the Minnesota Wild was the Finnish player Mikko Koivu. He played 1,028 games only for Minnesota Wild. He ended his career in the Columbus Blue Jackets the season 2021, but he will forever be strongly associated with the Minnesota Wild for all the appearance he had with that team. But now, dear friends, we are changing colors and team, but we are staying in the state of Minnesota. Now the colors will be black, blue and white, and the team I'm talking of course, is the Minnesota Whitecaps, who plays in the Premier Hockey Federation. The Minnesota Whitecaps started because of some dads wanted to give their daughters a place to play after the college. The Minnesota Whitecaps were a part of the Western Women Hockey League from 2004 until 2011, and today the Minnesota Whitecaps plays in the Premier Hockey Federation. The Minnesota Whitecaps plays their home games in the Richfield Ice Arena that have a capacity to have 1,800 spectators. Between the season 2004 and 2008 in the Western Women's Hockey League, Minnesota Whitecaps was going all the way to the finals, playing to be crowned the champions in the league, but they didn't really get it all the way. The season 2021 in the Premier Hockey Federation, Minnesota Whitecaps was playing the final to be crowned champions, but they lost in the final that season. But Minnesota Whitecaps have, under the club's history so far, been the only team from Minnesota that have been crowned champions. So the Whitecaps won the Carson Cup 2010 when they were a member of the Western Women's Hockey League, and they have also won the Isobel Cup 2019 as they have been and are a member of the Premier Hockey Federation. As following now, I will give you 4 profiles and really good players that have played but also plays for the Minnesota Whitecaps as we speak now. So it is inspiring to feel that the state of Minnesota, which currently has 2 really good ice hockey teams in both men's and women's ice hockey, which in turn provides many good examples of great role models for young people and fans that loves ice hockey. And with that said, it's not surprising to understand why Minnesota has such a great ice hockey culture. And that, my friends, was it. My name is David, and this is Hockeyfeber, and I hope you liked and enjoyed this episode. I liked that you were watching Hockeyfeber. And don't forget, if you're not already are following or subscribing on Hockeyfeber, to push the subscribe button. And I wish you all a pleasant evening and take care, and we will see each other on YouTube.